Hello friends, today I'm going to show you why do we use the keywords var, let and const in JavaScript. What is their scope and where are these keywords used? Let's understand them better. Let, var and const. Var, let and const are the three keywords used in JavaScript to declare variables. Each keyword has its own purpose and use cases. JavaScript is the base and one of the most powerful language for browser and user interaction. Going ahead, let's understand a little better. So var is the oldest and most widely used keyword for declaring variables, and it is function scoped, meaning that it is only accessible within the function in which it is declared. Var variables can be reassigned, meaning that their value can be changed after they have been declared. Let is a new keyword that was introduced in ECMA script 6. Unlike var, let variables are function scoped. However, let variables cannot be reassigned. This makes them a good choice for variables that are not intended to change value. Const. Const is another keyword that was introduced in ECMA script 6. And const, as the name suggests, it says that the value cannot be changed once it has been declared. So const variables are block scope, meaning that they are only accessible within the block of code in which they are declared. And const variables cannot be reassigned and cannot be redeclared. This makes them a good choice for variables that needs to remain constant, such as mathematical constants or global settings. Hoisting. What is hoisting in JavaScript? It is a mechanism that moves all declarations to the top of their scope. This means that variables and functions can be used before they are declared as long as they are declared somewhere in the same scope. There are two types of hoisting, variable hoisting and function hoisting. So variable hoisting means that all variables declarations are moved to the top of their scope. This means that variables can be used before they are declared as long as they are declared somewhere in the same scope. For example, trying to fetch the value of x while it's not declared and then declaring the value of x, which is a variable. Moving to the function hoisting. So function hoisting means that all function declarations are moved to the top of their scope, and this means that functions can be called before they are declared as long as they are declared somewhere in the same scope, just like the case of var. So here, foo is a function which we are trying to call even before it's declared, and then we are declaring it later. Now, in JavaScript, the scope of a variable is the region of the code where it can be accessed. There are three types of scope in JavaScript. One is global scope, local scope, and block scope. So, global scope, variables declared outside of any function have global scope. They can be accessed from anywhere in the code. Local scope, the variables declared inside a function have local scope. They can be accessed inside the function where they are declared. Block scope, variables declared inside a block of code such as for loop or an if statement have block scope. They can only be accessed inside the block where they are declared. The scope of a variable is important because it affects how it can be used in the code. For example, a variable with global scope can be accessed from anywhere in the code, while a variable with local scope can only be accessed from inside the function where it is declared. Let's see that in action. All right, so let's see this in action. So we have declared a var variable x and which has some value in it, and we are trying to check the value of this var before even it's declared, and we are trying to check if it has any value. So it says undefined, and after we check there is a value, we will try to print that value and see that it has some value. And now we will check the value of var inside the function. So inside the function also it let's see in function inside func is also working fine. Let's see again. Okay, perfect. And now try to change the value of var inside the function and print it again. Plus 2. Yes, that's also working. Then after we see that this one is outside func. Yes, out of func is also printed. So the var is accessible everywhere, and it just has one message that it's not defined. So it didn't throw me an error anywhere. So let's try to um, check it outside the function. So here is one case where you will see an error. I have not declared it outside the function and I'm trying to access the value. So that is the case a var will throw an error. Here is the only case the var will throw an error because it's not declared outside the function and we're trying to access it. Okay, this is the one case that var will throw an error. Now let's try to do the same thing with let. Let will never let you access. If you have not declared, you cannot use it. So it's a strict or a tight coupled thing. You can never access that without initializing or without assigning any value to it. But it will not throw an error in one case. Okay. So here what we did is we tried to access the value of x outside the function, but only after adding a value to it, only after putting a value into x, though it's declared inside the function in case of let, but we are trying to access with a rechanged value. In that case, let will not throw an error. Otherwise, it will throw an error. If I'm trying to access the value of x without assigning anything, it will throw me an error. Okay. So now, moving ahead to the const. It will never give you a value. Once it has initialized, you can only read it, but anywhere you try to access it or you want to change it, it will throw an error. It will keep throwing errors unless you fix that one. So it's only declared once and you have to access the value. Okay, so inside, let me try to reassign the value and check that. No, I keep on getting errors. Okay, so I have added it. I have tried to print it. Will not throw an error on the first case, but anywhere else it will keep on throwing that. So it's very tightly coupled thing. So you cannot in the func. Okay, so once it's created, you try to access it outside. Just after declaration, it's good, and once in the function, but you try to reassign something, it will throw an error. Okay, so that was all about the practical thing of let var and const. So that's all about this video. If you want to see more videos, stay connected, stay tuned, and until we have our next set of videos, thanks for watching. Happy coding.